Hey, I'm Rebecca from the blog and YouTube channel Moon and Magnolia, and today I want to share with you the difference between dehydrating and freeze drying. We are in the throes of food preservation season, so it's a great time to talk about the difference, especially if you are in the market for a dehydrator or a freeze dryer or both. And a lot of people think that they are sort of one and the same, or that they have a similar process, because what they hear is drying. Yes, it is true that in both processes water is removed, but the actual process itself and the end result is completely different. A dehydrator circulates warm air to slowly cook, which in turn removes the water from the food. So about 80 to 95% of water in the food is removed from the dehydrating process. But because it is cooked through dehydration, the flavor of the food changes, the texture of the food changes, and of course it also loses some of its nutritional value. Now that's not to say that dehydrated food isn't healthy, because it is, but like any other food, once it's cooked, the nutritional composition changes. A freeze dryer, on the other hand, uses frigid temperatures around negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit and a vacuum suction to remove about 99% of the water. So that means that the nutritional value of the food does not change, and neither does its composition. So if you put raw food into a freeze dryer, it comes out raw just without the water content. Or of course, if you put cooked food into a freeze dryer, it comes out cooked without the water content. What's cool about freeze drying is that it does maintain most of the flavor and about 100% of its nutritional composition. So yes, both dehydrated food and freeze-dried food are dried foods, but they are very, very different in terms of how they are dried and what the food is like when they come out of the drying process. For comparison's sake, I have some dehydrated watermelon and then a couple different types of dehydrated food, some that are in their natural shape and some that I have powdered. And this will just show you the difference between the dehydrated food and the freeze-dried food. The dehydrated watermelon, of course, is cooked, and it's really good, by the way. You can get the recipe over at moonandmagnolia.com. But you can see here, even though it's crispy, you can't really powder it in the way you would be able to a freeze-dried food, which you'll see in a second. And I also have some freeze-dried cherry tomatoes that came out of our garden. So these I opted to keep in their natural form because I'm going to throw these in things like soups and stews, and also my 3-year-old really likes to eat these as a snack. But you can see that once you take them out of the jar, you can crush them and powder them with your bare hands. So they don't have that cooked, chewy quality that dehydrated food has. It's not just the quality of the food or the nutrition that is different between dehydrating and freeze drying. A pretty major point of comparison is also how long the food lasts. Dehydrated food lasts about a year. Most recipes and instructions say that the dehydrated food can last between 3 months and a year, depending on how dry it is and how you store it. Freeze-dried food, on the other hand, as long as it is stored properly, can last up to 25 years. So dehydrated food is really more for short-term food preservation, short-term storage, whereas freeze-drying can be more long-term storage. Although I should note that freeze-dried food can also be stored for short-term use too. We'll talk about that in a minute. But when we're talking about the overall comparison, dehydrated food doesn't last as long as freeze-dried food. Now, you'll also notice that I have my dehydrated food in a plastic Ziploc bag. That's because we're gonna eat this really fast. We're rolling through this watermelon jerky, so I just keep it in a bag in the fridge and it's done in a few days, and that works fine. If you're looking for something longer term, up to a year, I would not put it in a Ziploc bag. I would use something airtight like a mason jar or some sort of airtight container and store it in a cool, dry place. But all of my freeze-dried foods are in mason jars with a lid and a ring. This type of storage would really only be good for a few months. So this is really short-term storage for freeze-dried foods. To keep it fresher a little longer, I also vacuum seal the lids on, which makes them, I'm probably gonna mess up my manicure. Makes them a little, there we go, hard to get off, but that will help keep them fresher a little bit longer. For long-term storage, up to 25 years for freeze-dried food, you would need to store it in Mylar bags with an appropriately sized oxygen absorber. I don't store my freeze-dried food for long, so I just use my freeze dryer as I have things coming out of my garden or as I find good things, say at the farmer's market. My goal is to have enough of those things for a year and to use them up within that year. So I mostly rely on jars and vacuum sealing the jars. How dehydrated and freeze-dried foods are used and consumed are pretty different too. Most of the time, dehydrated food is used as a snack. Not always. For example, I like to dehydrate tomatoes and then just throw them into soups. and use them as an ingredient that way. But most of the time for us, when we are dehydrating food, we are taking things and yes, preserving it, but preserving it in a way that provides us a snack. Think beef jerky, fruit leather, those sorts of things. Dehydrated food can be reconstituted with water and used, but I have found that it's not quite as good. But that isn't true all the time. There are a lot of really great blogs out there that have lots of recipes and tips for dehydrating and reconstituting food. So if you do a little Google searching, you can find some good recipes, but very often folks are dehydrating for snacks. Freeze-dried food also makes really good snacks. My 3-year-old lives for freeze-dried bananas. But the deal with freeze-drying is that because you can freeze-dry raw ingredients, you can preserve things like raw eggs and raw meat and raw vegetables and then use them as an ingredient for other things. So I often use freeze-dried eggs as an ingredient for my enriched sourdoughs, for example, for sourdough cinnamon rolls and sourdough babka. They work great for that. I also have a batch of tomatoes in the freeze dryer right now that I'm going to blend up, and then when I'm ready, I can reconstitute it with water and make a tomato sauce. So yes, you can make snacks with the freeze dryer, and lots of people do that, including us. But a freeze dryer does lend itself maybe a little more easily to preserving raw ingredients to use in recipes later. Maybe one of the biggest differences between dehydrating and freeze drying, other than the quality of the food in the process, is the price. On Amazon right now in 2024, most dehydrators range from $50 to $200. A freeze dryer, on the other hand, starts at $2,300 and goes all the way up to $5,000. So it is not as budget friendly, but it is a more complicated piece of machinery. So that's where the price difference comes in. We opted for a higher end food dehydrator, the Cosori cabinet food dehydrator, and this one cost around $200. The reason why we chose this dehydrator is because it heats from the back and blows the air forward, so it dries more evenly, and you don't have to worry about swapping the trays around, because the vertical dehydrators, although they work great, they heat from the bottom, so the bottom trays dry faster than the top trays, so every few hours you have to rotate them around. For the freeze dryer, we opted for the medium-sized freeze dryer because it fits in our space, and I'll talk more about size later, and it fit within our budget. This cost about $3,000. I'll leave links for the dehydrator and the freeze dryers in the description box below. Another point of comparison for a dehydrator and a freeze dryer is the size. Now, the size comparison will depend on what type of dehydrator you have or want and what size freeze dryer you have or you want to buy. We have a cabinet style dehydrator, so it takes up a little more space than the vertical ones. But just as a point of comparison, the actual footprint of the Harvest Right medium freeze dryer is about the same as the footprint of the dehydrator. I'm out in the garage, I'm sweating. It's, I don't know, 150 degrees in here, but I wanted to show you the size difference between the medium Harvest Right freeze dryer and then the Cosori cabinet dehydrator. So obviously this is a much bigger machine, but in terms of footprint, they are almost the same size. This is just a lot taller. Now, we do have our machines in the garage, which is less than ideal for a freeze dryer, but the folks at Harvest Right did say it is fine to keep your freeze dryer in the garage, but during warmer months like right now, mid-July in southeastern North Carolina, it takes a lot longer for the food to dry. That's not so much of an issue for the dehydrator since it uses heat. I haven't noticed that the dry times take any longer, but for sure it does take longer with the freeze dryer. You can probably hear this in the background because I am freeze drying a batch of tomatoes right now, but you can hear that it's not terribly loud. It's not something that I would want, say, in my living space when I'm trying to watch Love is Blind, for example, but it's not really that disruptive, but I do prefer it to be out of the living space. The dehydrator actually isn't really that loud, but I also prefer it to be out of my living space just so that way I don't have to hear it, because it does stay on for a long time and a constant hum for 12 to 24 hours kind of gets on my nerves. One thing to keep in mind when it comes to a freeze dryer is that there are other components. So when you put a dehydrator in, you just plop it on the counter or the table, plug it in, and you're good to go. But with the freeze dryer, there are other parts. You have a pump that you have to find space for, and you'll also need to have a bucket for the water to drain in and a space for a tube to run from the freeze dryer into the bucket. One thing I like about the dehydrator over the freeze dryer is that you can move the dehydrator around. So before we had our table set up in the garage, we actually just kept the dehydrator out in the garage, and then we would move it into the kitchen when we wanted to dehydrate. Less than ideal, but it worked great. And it's really not that heavy, so you can move it around. The freeze dryer though will need to have a permanent home because it is heavy. When it comes to dehydrating dehydrating versus freeze drying, there's also some maintenance that needs to be considered. Dehydrating is a really low maintenance form of food preservation. The only things you really need to worry about when it comes to maintaining your machine is cleaning the dehydrator trays and wiping down any spills or drips that might happen inside of the machine. Freeze dryers are a little more high maintenance, so of course you need to keep the trays and the inside clean, but the pump will also need its oil change and have some regularly scheduled maintenance, and you also have this bucket that fills up with water that needs to be emptied. So you might be asking them, well, what is the right choice for me? I don't know if I want a dehydrator or a freeze dryer. And I think really the answer to that comes down to three main things. Your budget. If you are working within a budget and you want to keep it as low as possible, a dehydrator is the way to go. If you have a little more wiggle room, you can get a freeze dryer for as low as $2,300. Of course, you will also need to consider your needs. If you just want to make snacks and keep some things preserved for short term, a dehydrator might be a great way to go. But if you're looking to preserve things like eggs and raw ingredients and do more long-term storage of foods, a freeze dryer might be a better option. And of course, you'll need to consider the space that you have. You will need a place to put these things, and you will also need a place to plug them in. So consider how much space do you have, which machine would fit in that space, or which size machine would fit in that space, and do you have an outlet for that? And one thing to think about too is if you get a large size freeze dryer, you might need to have your outlet changed too. So I encourage you to look at the products you're interested in, see if they fit your needs, see if they work within your budget, and if you are able to fit that in your space. Really, if you ask me, you can't go wrong either way. I love both my dehydrator and my freeze dryer. They are both really great ways and no fuss ways to get started on a home food preservation journey. Things like canning, for example, which I love. I just posted a video about canning a year's worth of tomatoes. So I do love canning, but it is a long process. It is not a set it and forget it process like dehydrating or freeze drying. So I really believe that a dehydrator and or a freeze dryer are great places to start if you are embarking on a home food preservation journey. If you are a food preservationist and you have a dehydrator and or a freeze dryer and you have some tips or tricks that you think will help the Moon and Magnolia community, leave a comment below and help us build this knowledge base together. Thanks so much for stopping by today, and I will see you again next time.